What is up, nerds, geeks, and gamers? It's Rage, and on today's episode of Book Talk, I'm going to be talking about Gears of War Bloodlines. Let me start by telling you, great. It's a great read. I'm going to be giving it an 8 out of 10. I really enjoyed the book. Really enjoyed it. And I think if you don't care about the fact it's tied into Gears 5 and Gears Tactics, that you should read it. It's phenomenal. It's a great read. Now, it is split into two sections like previous books, with one set in the present and one set in the past. The one set in the present is just okay. It's interesting, but just okay. And the one set in the past is the reason I'm rating this book so highly, because it is fantastic. Um, so the section set in the present takes place after the Settlement 2 destruction caused by the Hammer of Dawn in Gears 5, which I'll show you now.
Woo! See? I told you it'd work. Barrett! Barrett! What's going on?
I can't control the... Iris, shut it down! Shut it down!
God damn it!
Just run!
Oh no. Move! 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 Damn it, get out of there! I got you! I got you!
It's alright. We get to see more of what Kate was up to during that time period. We learn that she was a liaison. Well, we learn how she was convinced to work with Jin to try and convince outsiders to come to New Etheria so they can be more easily protected from the swarm. And uh, that's just okay. They have like a whole list of places she's supposed to go to, but she only ends up going to one, where she ends up meeting someone from her past who was in charge of the village, who she eventually manages to convince to come to New Etheria. And then after the events that happen in the book, she ends up skipping a couple settlements just to go to where Oscar is living. Oscar is in charge of Riftworm Village. And we also get to see parts of Kate's childhood. We get to learn more about her relationship with her mom and dad and how she was raised by them. And clearly, if you've played the games, you know that her dad died while she was young. So we definitely see how Reina's personality and way of raising Kate influences her even to today. So that was probably the best part of it, was seeing Kate's childhood. I think it helps make her a more likable character, which is sorely needed after how she is in Gears 5. Um, and then that's really it in the section set in the present. I mean, they end up taking the villagers and going to New Etheria, and Kit convinces Jin, or tries to convince Jin at least, that they should be offering positions in the military to the outsiders to help defend New Etheria and stuff like that, because they need every person they can get, especially with the fact that the Swarm can take over the DBs. So there's that, and it's all right. Um, I think maybe if they'd written a little bit more, if she'd visited more settlements when we got to see more of that, it probably would have been better. But as it is right now, that section is only like a 5 or 6. Like, it's, you can read it. It's all right. It's not terrible. It doesn't make me not want read the book, but compared to the section set in the past, it just doesn't match up. It's not nearly as good. Now, as for the section set in the past, that we learn um is about Gabe, who is Kate's dad. And the way Kate herself learns this is Hoffman gives her a top secret folder detailing one of his missions, or one of his postings, and we learn that he was actually posted up on Vectis Island, which is supposed to be like a vacation for the people stationed there, because there's not a lot of fighting that goes on near there outside of the occasional patrol boats taking pot shots at each other between the Indies and the COG. We learn that the UIR actually had a base on the other side of the lesser islands. So the Gears Vectis base is like here, and then the Indies are over here. So that was interesting. As far as we're aware from the previous books, they didn't know about the indie base. There was no mention of it as far as I can tell. But in here, it's clearly stated that the UIR also had a base in those lesser islands. So Gabe was sent there as a reward for winning a battle that was thought to be unwinnable, and we learn a little bit more about him as a leader, as a person. Like, he takes the death of men under his command very seriously. It always affects him. He feels guilty that his orders are what caused people to die, even if, you know, they had to die for the greater good to save more people. It still hurts him. And we learn that partially because of that, he makes sure that his men at Vectis base are keeping up with their training and staying conditioned. And even though they're taking it a bit more relaxed because there's nothing really important going on there, there's no fighting, stuff like that, that he just wants to make sure his men are ready in case something does happen. We're also introduced to Phillips, who is the actual commander of the base. She's the part of the Navy, and as we've learned throughout the books and kind of can guess from the games, the Navy has always been considered a less important part of the overall army of the coalition compared to the actual army of the Cogs. So we learn more about her, and she's like a career politician kind of person. She doesn't do things because they're the right thing to do. She does them because they'll make her look good, and she wants to try and move up the chain of command and stuff like that. You know, she's the type of person that causes a war to go on longer because she doesn't take actions to actually help win the war. Instead, she just wants to try and look good for rewards and stuff like that, to get power, stuff like that. So we eventually, a group of spec ops come to the island. They're called the Ghosts, and they're one of the teams under Hoffman. And they come, and it turns out that the leader of the Ghosts that are on the island is Wyatt, who is actually the brother of Gabe and Oscar. And they end up requisitioning some stuff and then set off from the base. eventually they get a distress call from them, and Gabe is sent along with some gears to go rescue them and get them back to Vector Space. And that's all I really want to say about that, because I don't want to spoil too much. It's by far the best part of the book, and I don't want to ruin it for anyone who decides that they want to read it and does go and read it, because it's just fantastic. I like seeing new characters who do things, and that seeing that, the cog is made up of more than just a handful of competent people like Hoffman and Marcus and Dom, Bard, and Cole, even though by this point, obviously, Dom and Marcus are really the only ones in active duty, like Cole and Bard are not yet in the army. Um, so it's nice to see that there are other people who actually do stuff, because from the games and the other books, it's really Delta Squad, and especially Marcus and Dom, because they're never too far apart, who really do like 90% of the things that need to be done. So it's nice to see new characters that are interesting and that actually do good things. Now, we don't really learn much about Gabe after the time on Vector Space, which makes me sad, because I was really hoping we could learn more about what he did during the Locust invasion, E-Day, and the whole Locust War. But sadly, we didn't, and hopefully at some point maybe they release another book for that. But very good book. I really recommend it. Um, every single book written under the Coalition, the company, not not the in universe. Oh, it's not gonna focus, is it? Oh my god, I think I definitely need to get a new webcam or figure out how the heck to make this camera look better. But it's nice to see that they can tell good stories. The three books that they've written, A Fear Rising, Bloodlines, and Ascendance, have all been good. I've enjoyed all three of them, and I am looking forward to any other book they might release, actually, which I never thought I'd say, because I really thought these books were going to be terrible, but they weren't, and I'm actually super happy about that. The only book I have left to review in the Gears of War series is the Kelio Squad journal that Bard writes in universe, which I'll get started on pretty soon here. There are also the comics, but as of right now, I have no way to get my hands on them, so I can't be reviewing them, sadly. Uh, Hopefully someday I can, but currently it doesn't look like I can. So, if you guys have any recommendations for other books and series you want me to talk about or read, I'll see if I maybe have them, and if I don't, I'll try and set up an Amazon wish list or something like that, so you guys can buy it if you want to. Um, I sh- I don't want to get into it, but hopefully soon I can start buying some books that you guys recommend. And obviously, I have other series and books that I'm going to talk about after I'm done with Gears. So don't be too worried about coming up with something for me to review if you don't have something on hand that you really care about me talking about. So if you've enjoyed the video, I'd really appreciate it if you could like, subscribe, and hit the bell notification icon. It really helps me out, and it means a lot to me when people do subscribe. I'm up to 15 subscribers, which I never thought I'd get, and I'm really happy that you people are enjoying the content that I'm putting out. And I just I stream a lot, and obviously I try and upload. Sadly, I don't upload, I wouldn't say very often, but I try to get something out when I can. So if you subscribe, you're more likely to see when I go live or when I release a video and stuff like that. So yeah, I hope you guys have a good rest of your day, and I'll see you later. Peace.